All right, and we're back with Going Corn, Season 4, Episode number 5. I'm joined by a couple of special people today. Our special guest, Ian Garavalia. I hope I'm saying that right. I think so. We've said it wrong on this podcast
You
many
got
times.
it.
So, and I'd like to introduce my co-host, the Barney Rubble to my Fred Flintstone, Ryan Vogus, the shocking guest host tonight. Welcome, Ryan.
Hey, Greg. Filling in as your savior per usual. I don't get invited unless you absolutely need me to cover Caleb's ass. So,
How many times have you been on this podcast?
I don't know, 5, 6, 10.
Yeah.
Who knows?
You are the most occurring host, I'm pretty sure, besides if you count Tim being the co-host in the very early days of the podcast.
I need more Tim on this podcast. I'll gladly step aside if you get Tim next time.
No, doubtful. Okay. Anyway, so we're gonna start off by asking Ian a couple questions. Ian's never been on the podcast before, so Ian is a first-year owner for the Porter County Porkers. I'm gonna try and say that right every time tonight. We'll get a counter if I don't. How many times I mess it up? But thoughts on your first year as an owner?
It's really, really stressful. Honestly, it's a hell of a lot more stressful than just showing up every week to play. Because I mean, I didn't have a great start off to my career as a Noble Narwhal, but came back with Tuck's team in the Barnstormers last year that we obviously made a great push for the championship. But yeah, it's been a lot harder than to just make a team from scratch, basically.
Yeah, for sure. That seems to be a common theme, Ryan. People get on my team and then they get off and then they just soar to new heights, like Vince and Sam with the Badgers last year. There was a lot of Narwhal hate. You can hear Mr. Narwhal himself in the background, Jackson Bazia.
Yeah, he said hey. Yeah, you got a lot of hate today on Facebook, Greg. It was
it's crazy.
Maybe you giving up on all your players is coming back to haunt you.
I didn't give up on them.
You shipped them off.
I mean, the team wasn't working.
That might come up later in this conversation too. We'll see how in depth you get on that, Greg.
So anyway, what's the best thing about being an owner? What's the worst thing about being an owner?
Worst thing is definitely trying to manage with all the fucking stupid rules that he's got. But best thing is, I don't know. It is really fun coming up with a team name, and making everything up and just kind of starting from scratch. It is pretty fun. Obviously it has its downsides, but
yeah,
it is.
So you're telling me the only good thing about being an owner in Leroy is making a team name? That's what I got.
Not just that, the logo's pretty good,
okay.
But
hey, Greg,
I don't know. It was
that solidifies why I have said no to being an owner every year so far.
Ian just hasn't found he's had to move a lot of things around, the first few weeks, trying to get players to come. Owen having injuries. That was his first draft pick, so
we can say confidently though that he is not the worst new owner in the league.
That is absolutely true. I mean,
fire to
it's a movement.
He gets it.
It's a movement.
So anyway, let's go ahead and start recapping week 3. So there's a lot of big, and we'll talk about this a little bit after, but there's a lot of big games here. So the Maniacs first played the Badgers, and unfortunately for the Badgers, Maniacs sweep 7-5 and then 15-3. Oof.
Yeah, not good, Greg. I don't know. Do you want me to just briefly recap it?
Sure.
Jared and Bo were unable to get out of work on time, so they were about 20 minutes late past game time. So Jared, trying to be a good guy, decided, hey, I'm not going to take any warm-ups since I'm late. And that really came back to haunt us because the pitching just wasn't there. Our hitting wasn't what it normally is. I mean, we put up 5 runs in the first game, but didn't come out of the gates, and the Maniacs are a really good team. Kevin was on fire. Tyler Van Kyken, Croc legend, was on fire. He bent Sheriff over all night long. So, and I don't know, it was a pretty good team, but yeah, we just were super off. I kind of expect that to be just kind of a one-time occurrence. I don't think Sheriff will let that happen again. So
yeah.
But I mean, shout out to them. They are a good team. So it's not like we just phoned it in. We were trying that first game. Second game, maybe not so much, as you can tell by the score, but
yeah.
That first game, no, it was competitive. It's just they got the upper hand on us. So they're a team to look out for sure.
Yeah. They're a good team. They dropped Cam for Tony, and that was Tony's debut for the Maniacs. So
that was my first time ever facing Tony.
Yeah,
ever. I had never played against him. He's got good stuff on the mound. He's got really good velo. Little inaccurate, but I know how that goes. So
yep.
But yeah, no, he's good. Kevin's always been a solid player. He's always right around the 40s, so he's all what he's going to bring to the table. And then if you can get that kind of week out of Tyler a little more consistently, they're going to be they're going to be dangerous, because I mean they're 3 or 4, and I don't know how many home runs he had last week, like 7 it felt like.
Oh my gosh.
It was something crazy.
Yeah, I didn't look at the stats exactly, but
I think he was the batter of the week.
Wow.
Him or Kevin, but
that's crazy.
Yeah, no, he's stud. I don't remember who was their other person.
I think it was Luke Ballish, wasn't it, last week?
Who knows, man? It's somebody I never met before. He was
Luke Ballish.
Okay, he was cool. I don't really remember how he played, but he was a cool kid at least.
Oh man, yeah, he had 3 home. Van Kyken had 3 home runs in that second game alone, so I'm guessing he had quite a bit in the second. So
yeah, he was on one.
Well, I get to face them tomorrow, so this is gonna be real fun. I just get all the good teams at the right time. So, Ian, do you have the next? Are you on the thing here? Can you give us the next results here?
We got Sliders sweep. Who did they play again? I don't even honestly remember.
The Sliders played the Melonheads.
Melonheads, correct? Yeah. Sliders sweep 4-2 and 6-1. Honestly, we played right next to them, and it was from what we heard, it was just a lot of long balls really that would end up being the game.
The return of Jack Hilligan's making a big difference. I don't know if do you know who Jack Hilligan's is, Ian? Like,
I don't think
he was the lefty probably on their team. He is
Trucker legend.
Absolutely. He's probably, if you look at it, probably top 10 in batting in terms of home runs and some other counting stats in Leroy history. So getting him back and playing was a big thing, I'm sure. He was $50, so I'm sure he had to hit quite a few of those home runs from what you're saying. So
I kind of caught the kind of the end of his reign, I guess you would say, in Leroy with that Truckers year. I think he was the first overall pick that year.
Yep.
He was good. He just he started to not show up as much as I think he was showing up in the years prior.
Yeah.
And I know he had an ankle injury or something.
That was back when he was on my team. I was his teammate for a year when he was the previous year. So that's why, he was the number 1 pick, because his salary was really high, because he was like a $48 player, I think, going into that draft. And he was a monster hitting.
I could tell when he was on. I know, actually, I met him at Nationals when the last year of Leroy. I remember he was part of your squad, but Jack's a beast. It just, I guess it's gonna all depend on consistency for him if he's gonna show up.
Yep. So so it doesn't look like much else. The Melonheads 1-5. Are they the best 1-5 team though? Because they don't seem like a 1-5 team. I played them. We split against them. They're a tough team, but I guess with Matt kind of now saying he's actually done and he's not backing off that stance now. I mean,
Who else do they have?
they have Jeff Workowski, John Lytle now, Garrett, and I think Chandler.
That's off of the name power. What
The
you
names,
just said.
yeah,
That's a 1-5 team.
Yeah. With Matt on that team though for the first 3 weeks.
Yeah, Matt. Yeah, I mean
he was, but
they ran into a tough schedule. I mean, Narwhals are really good this year. That Sliders team that Jordan brought was good.
Very good.
That's
Robbie, Jack.
That's a who's who of Leroy studs over the last 5 years. So
yeah. All right. So anything else on that one? No, I don't think so. You want to talk about the next series here, Rye, or are you on this or no on the sheet?
You don't. I don't know if you have names next to these, to be honest with you, but sure. Flamingos swept somebody. 13.
The Porkers.
Oh, well, I'll read the scores, but you can let Ian talk about this one. So
yeah,
Flamingos looks like they won a slugfest, 13-12, and then they also won game 2, 5-4. So 2 really close games. First one looks like 0 pitching. Second one looks like it was a good game. So yeah, Ian, talk a little bit about your series there.
Yeah, basically it was. I mean, the hitting was there from both sides, honestly. The second game obviously kind of lacked, but that was when the wind, it honestly shifted a whole 360 throughout that night. But the second game was when the wind was blowing straight back in, so it was definitely less long balls. But the first game, the wind was blowing pretty much straight out. It was, I don't know, it was, we could not get our pitching together, in all honesty. It was a lot of lob pitching first game, but that ended up being the ruin of us. But yeah, second game was definitely, I think it was 5-1 going into the last inning, and we kind of brushed together a little comeback, but yeah, came up short, obviously.
Yeah, I think that was Manny's probably surprise of the week. I mean, I don't think there was 0 people. That is what killed everyone last week in the predictions.
No, it was definitely the Badgers getting swept also.
There was
0 people that picked the Badgers to get swept. Yeah. No, to lose both.
Oh. Same thing for the Flamingos. There's nobody that picked the Flamingos to win both. So
no, it was always, I think there was one person or maybe 2 that chose a split. I think that was the only one.
So, and honestly,
the Flamingos, the Flamingos aren't even like. We were going into it like probably one of the downsides of playing a team like the Flamingos, because they were obviously 0-4 going into that series. Is everyone on the team, on my team, I could tell you, was just expecting to go in and just throwing some people around and just shutting people down. But once it showed, like the Flamingos, they're not a bad team, honestly. They honestly have a pretty decent team.
They have some veterans in there.
Is that the field? Is that the field that I saw Al Friedman going nuts on?
He sure did. He told me all about it. He texted a bunch of us on our Magic team.
Ian, what the hell was that about?
What do you mean with Al?
Yeah, man.
I don't know. Al Friedman, he took off last game. He was his first series with us. I think he only played week 1 with us. He was still suffering from his ankle injury, and he said he was not feeling comfortable with it. And since then, he kind of told me before the game that he's obviously hurt and he's going to just have to power through it. And power through it he did. And his hitting was just insane. The pitching needs some work. But
he texted me.
It's never been a strong suit, pitching.
Yeah, he texted me and he said, he sent me all of his stats for hitting, and he goes, "I won't get in my pitching line though." I'm like, "Oh no!" Must have been pretty bad. But I will say this. So, real quick, a new addition, Matt Schwitzer. Is that? I hope I say names on this podcast wrong all the time.
I couldn't tell you either, honestly.
But oh boy, owner, big trouble. Matt, you hearing this? I mean, gonna take this? So he came up to me though as I was getting ready to leave. He was walking with Rob and a couple other people, and I rolled down my windows like, oh, saying good game to them and see you later. And he goes, hey, no more talking shit about me on the podcast. I didn't give up any runs this week. I'm like, all right, you got it. So I love it. People are watching. People are listening to the podcast. I love it. So, well,
yeah, I still haven't seen this guy play at all. I've obviously I've heard about his power numbers from the podcast, but yeah, Greg, you did shit on him last week pretty hard. So
I mean, I was just trying to point out the one flaw he might have had. I mean, but he came back and gave up 0 runs. How was from an owner's perspective? Were you satisfied with like his performance of week 1 or his first week on the Porkers?
It was definitely from what I saw when he was with the Riot. I don't think he definitely didn't have the greatest of days on the plate, but his pitching was pretty good. I think he kind of struggles with the whole mentality of just trying to throw it as hard as you can, which I suffered my first season. And when I was with you, Greg, I just really wanted to throw some dirty pitches and just get strikeouts all the time. And I never really focused on just hitting the board, and which obviously that's the best thing to do as a pitcher is just constantly hit the board.
Absolutely. So good performance there, even though the bat probably wasn't as much. But, I mean, pitching is kind of almost just as important as you saw in those 2 scores. Giving up 13 runs, you got to have good, pitching. So yeah. Anything else about that series? Nope. All right, cool. The Sluggers sweep the Tacos. Was this a shock to anyone? Don't think so. 8-0 and 11-0. The Tacos need help and bad. They need a lot of help.
We could ask a current rostered player of the Tacos when he's gonna finally show up. He's
that is feet away from the savior. Yeah.
We'll see after GBL.
There's your answer.
Jackson Bazia, the Mr. Taco, the first Mr. Narwhal.
Sad.
When we start our Hall of Fame, he will be the first person inducted into the Hall of Fame.
No, it's not going to be you.
No. No, I don't deserve that. Shit. So.
It's true. You do have the worst record all time as a Narwhal.
Absolutely. Because I've had to stay on the team the entire time. So I've let other people mercifully go out into the, great beyond. But we weren't bad when Jackson was on that team. But we just...
Who eliminated you that year?
Yeah, Hush. No.
Oh, okay.
Joffrey did.
Yeah, right. I fucking...
And Al when he couldn't do anything.
One arm.
Yeah, and Jackson having migraines, they couldn't see. He was seeing 3 balls pitched to him.
Excuses.
Anyway.
Narwhal excuses.
Okay, Sluggers, Tacos. Yeah, I don't know what else to say at this point. They're waiting for Jackson. They're hoping Rat can come. They did make a big trade, and we will talk about that after this segment.
Tyler did get exposed this in a group chat the other day.
Yeah.
He's been blaming Rat's availability, saying that Rat lied to him. Oh, yeah. But
Rat brought the receipts.
Rat had receipts that showed that he was very unsure if he was going to be able to play at all this year. And he was adamant with that about Tyler. But I don't know if Tyler been on the sauce a little bit that day or something. But
oh, yes. He admittedly was throwing up that night after the draft. So,
but yeah, Rat was very adamant that, hey, there's a very good chance I will not be playing a single game in Leroy. And Tyler still took him 3rd overall. So, Ian, you're doing okay relatively.
Relative to T-Walk. So, let's move on. Colin Lonbeck came back for the Sluggers. Shocking how that always works, He just magically appears a week that...
I'm a big Colin guy.
Yeah, I love Colin. Colin's great for the brand. So let's move on to the Barnstormers and Riot, 2 undefeated teams at the time. the Barnstormers end up sweeping the Riot 3-1 and then 6-0. So some low-scoring games. They said that, it was pretty thick, the air, and like they kind of had the same wind as us. So yeah, it wasn't really kind of blistering out or anything like that. So thoughts on that series? Does anybody have? I'll look up some stats here. Looks like Gags did pretty well first game, 500, hit a home run. Or it looks like so. Kuna and Gags drove in a run each with a home run, and Tuck drove in the third run. And then looks like on the mound, Tim gave up 2 runs, and then Joel Berkey in his debut gave up a run as well.
Can I just remind people that Gag struck out to T-Walk 2 weeks ago?
I was there. That was my first impression of that day. That was the first thing I saw. That's when I knew it was gonna be a great night.
Yeah. So that's oh man, that's great.
But on a real note, I think we're gonna get to it later, but I'll just talk about it now. Gags really gets slept on in Leroy.
Yeah,
dude's a stud.
No,
people think that his stats are always inflated and that they're eventually going to come down to earth, himself included. He said all preseason, I'm going to have a down year, blah blah blah.
Yeah, that's part of the perception is he dogs himself so much, and I think that's why. Mm-hmm. I think he's trying to do that. He's trying to set that bar low, and then so when he plays well, it looks a lot better than it is. But there's a reason he's the number 5 overall pick. Honestly, T-Walk
should have been number 3.
Absolutely, yes. T-Walk should have absolutely taken. Yep, that's his cousin. That's he knows what he's gonna do. He can trust him in making decisions with the team.
Gags he's a smart hitter.
Absolutely.
He's got power when needed, but he's just a smart hitter. He doesn't chase. He gets into those slow pitch counts where he can take advantage of that, and then he throws strikes. He doesn't have the most powerful arm in the league, but from what he's said and from what other people have said, his velo's picked up a little bit this year. So if he's still throwing strikes and he's got a little more velo, like he's gonna be a solid 1. Leroy. There's no doubt about it. He's a 1.
And Kuna, obviously Kuna playing on that team, very good. So yeah, Gags is 3-0 with 1 save. He has a .67 ERA right now. Only 7 strikeouts, but he's only given up 3 hits in 9 innings and 1 run. And that was his very first start too. He gave up that run. Otherwise, he's not giving up a single run. So, yeah, some great stuff for him. The Barnstormers looking like they're in a good spot, and obviously we'll talk about their moves too. They shook up their team a little bit. A lot of moves. So, Ryan, you want to talk about the last series of the day if there's nothing else on that? So the Riot moved to 4-2, and the Barnstormers are 6-0 now. I think the only undefeated team left.
Yeah, my pleasure to bring this one up. The Narwhals and the Liners, the series of the week, ended up in a split as most people kind of predicted. Narwhals took game 1 6-3, and the Liners took game 2 4-2. There's a lot of, as I guess I would call it, noise going on during this game. A certain guest of this podcast also played a part in this game for some reason. And I don't know. I'll let you two talk about it. I can chime in since I played on the field next to you and spent a lot of the time of the blowout I played in watching. So,
I'll start it off. It was a little heated there. Caleb and I got into it a little bit. We never really get into like a big argument, like screaming, yelling at each other. Like there's only been a couple times in our friendship over the last few years where we've had that happen. Like we get mad at each other, no doubt, and we get annoyed with each other, but that's like normal stuff.
Fucking
but we
get into it, Greg.
I'm getting to it.
Stop
Shit.
buttering it up.
So yeah, we got in a heated disagreement because just a lot of stuff had happened at that point. Dave has his times where he just reacts in the moment. He says some things, people take it one way or another, and then it just kind of built up. That was the second game. First game was fine.
Was it?
Did you hear anything from the first game?
Caleb and Dave were chirping at each other from the first at bat. I feel like.
Well, yeah, because he was crowding the plate or whatever. So.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of this tension built up from the first game.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at. Is it built up from the first game? I really wanted to win. He really didn't want to get swept. It was one of those things where it just kind of happened like that, and then it was just a really hard fought game. And it was tough the way that second game ended. Like there was the poor Ian. You were involved.
Some crazy guy ran on the field.
Yeah, Ian ran on the field.
That's what that's why I was trying to bring up.
So what was your perspective on that play? Did you gut in front of him?
Honestly, I was genuinely trying to make a play on a ball. It was, I'm pretty sure there was 2 outs in my game, and I think it was Quinn that was actually up, and I knew it was like bases loaded too, and we had to get out of it, so I was devoting myself to, and it was a high pop fly, so yep. I really, really tried to get after it, and I had no idea what what was happening on your guys' field until I was on the field and I saw, and of course, perfect timing is a ball gets put into play right where I'm at.
Yeah.
So it was just it was crazy. It got really heated.
Yeah. I want to give props to Hayworth publicly on this because he was the one that kind of quelled a little bit of this, in between me and Caleb, like the call and everything. He was the one that hit the ball, so it was kind of a discussion there back and forth. So, hard fought series. We're all good now. Caleb and I talked through it, so we're fine. So no love lost between us, but yeah. So heated series, great series. I'm happy to come away with a split. Well, we've had a tough schedule first 3 weeks.
I was proud of you for finally sacking up and defending yourself. I just want to throw that out there. I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
We are going into week 4?
Correct.
There has been. So you've experienced Dave for 3 weeks now.
Yes.
So I'm curious on what your thought is on what he brings extracurricularly to your team, not like performance wise, but
gotcha.
The antics. What are your thoughts? How do you think it's going to affect going forward?
That's a great question. For me, I'm going to say this, and I know you're probably going to give me shit for saying this. I've had plenty of private discussions with Dave, and I don't want to put those out on this podcast. We've had plenty of discussions about, what he brings, but I'd say the biggest thing he brings is leadership to the team. He brings that competitive nature. He's always said since the beginning he doesn't want the Narwhals to be kind of stepped on, because that's how everyone's looked at the Narwhals the last couple of years. Even from the jump, no matter what team I had, people are predicting I get swept all the time, and so going into it, he brought a lot of that into the team. So I think. Yeah, and like I said, we've had a lot of private conversations I won't get into on the podcast, but,
Scared.
Well, it's between us,
no,
so, yeah.
No, you're good. As you know, I'm a Dave fan. I love the controversy he brings. And I love that it gets everyone.
So, yeah, it's a touchy subject. It's always the thing that's brought up a lot in Leroy, but I think when you get to know him, he's not a bad guy. He just doesn't think in some spots. But anyway, so that's the recap from the last week. So, actually, I'll give you a quick update on standings after this past week. So, the Barnstormers are 6-0. They're sitting up at the top. Sluggers are 5-1. The Riot are 4-2, along with the Lake County Liners. There is 4 teams that are 3-3, which are the Maniacs, the Badgers, the Narwhals, and the Porkers. Sliders and Flamingos both win their first 2 games of the year, become 2-4. Melonheads 1-5, and Tacos 0-6. So this is a long first half of the show, but what we're going to do real quick is we're going to kind of go over some additions, and we'll talk about some real quick. So I'm just kind of going to fire through these if you guys are good with that. So we had John Lytle is now added to the Melonheads. Matt Dykstra's dropped off. We talked about that earlier. So Matt was added then by the Maniacs, but don't think he's going to play very much. James Hayworth played his 4th game and got signed by the Barnstormers for Justin Deckinga. Deckinga then
BS.
went to the Maniacs. Yes, that's BS. The big thing here, Kuna goes to the Riot now. So after passing up on Cam the previous week, he... I guess that's what he was waiting for, is to, try and sign someone big. So he got Kuna on his team. So that brings a big number 1 back after losing Matt. So that kind of helps slot down Marty and Tim in the lineup. So Matt Kuna now in the Riot. Decking it, like I said, on the Maniacs. The Liners and Tacos made a trade. The Liners got Josh Smits and Mike Heritos. I don't know. Burritos, Horanitos. And then the Tacos get Sam Stahl and Jason Hilligans. So that was probably the biggest trade. And then Luke Balish got added on the Liners because of, I think this was part of the Cole Deardoff. Cole Deardoff goes to the Sluggers now. So a lot of big moves. Thoughts, Ian, on the teams now after all these big moves?
One thing I did, Hayworth, that was a absolute, came out of left field for me. I honestly did not see him being a Barnstormer at all. But Tuck, being the manager he is, had to take advantage of that pick, and I'm fully behind it, except I kind of wanted him. But that would, that's crazy. But also, Matt Kunas, I heard there's a lot of controversy with how much he's available for in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
His words are on the street, so.
Yeah, well, because his availability is always a big question, I think, with quarantine and stuff going on. You probably know a little bit more, Ryan, don't you, about Kuna's availability than maybe us?
No.
No,
not really. I know it's all work related. So whenever he goes back to work, his availability is going to drop off. I think for now, unless something's changed since last Wednesday, he will be available going forward until that changes. So
yeah,
I mean, it's a good pickup for Tim.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean,
but it's a Band-Aid. It's not a. I don't think it's a full season resolution for him. So
correct.
Yeah.
There's still a lot to be said in this season. Only week 3. So see if. I mean, and the Riot are still 4-2 at the end of the day, and that's going to help them at least for a while. And guess what? Guess who gets to play them next week? Right after they add Matt Kuna.
Wow.
I'm just saying, it's just
Greg has a great roster, and he still cries wolf every week.
No,
it's last.
I
year,
have a hard fucking
every
schedule.
year. Everyone has a hard schedule.
Oh, come on.
We all play the same people once. I'm confused.
No, it's just the order of where I got put. Like, okay, look at the teams I've played this year. I've played the Sluggers, who are 2nd overall. The Melonheads, who, are down right now, but, I mean, they still have a good team. I lost one to them. Played the Liners. Caleb's always tough. He's not, there's rarely a time where he gets swept. You experienced that as well. I faced the Maniacs this week. Then I faced the Riot, and then I play the Tacos. Which, wow, whoop-de-doo. Guess who's coming back for them? Probably is Jackson. So it's just the timing of everything just is like crazy. But I have faith in my team.
Blah blah. Anyways, Greg's off his soapbox now. So I'm gonna agree with Ian getting back on schedule here. The Barnstormers move was what stood out to me as well. To me, that's a championship move that Jim Tucker just made. Yep. Tuck can slide into a 4 spot on that team now, probably. Yep. Who's their third?
Well, yeah, that's the.
Oh well, they got Hayworth now. Yeah, so.
Well, Hayworth, who's 1 and 2?
Oh, who's their 2?
Yeah, they don't have a 2. Hayworth is probably.
They got 3 people. They got Jim Tucker, obviously Gags, Hayworth, and they have the Ty Bothwell, which is I'm sure is just a filler for now. But honestly, that kid is really good at baseball. I could tell you firsthand.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's got to put the pieces together too.
So what?
Come over time.
Do you know what his salary is?
Bothwell's salary right now is
I think it's like 30 something, isn't it?
I think it is 30.
How do they have
30.12?
Here, let me see if I can find it.
I'm pulling it up.
Okay.
Sorry, where are you, Barnstormers? Bad radio. Here we go. They got him. I guess what I meant was, what did they sign him for?
Or well, so it looks like
they signed him for 22.
Mike Greer is still on their team, is on their main roster.
Oh no, they signed him for 14. No.
But maybe. Ty Bothwell currently is $30.12.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, okay. Well, either way, I mean, Gags, Hayworth, Tuck. That's a very good 1, 2, 3.
Absolutely.
And I guess if they can just have a 4th that can just buy into Tuck's system. Tuck's a fantastic coach.
Yeah.
Very, very good at keeping his team together. So I don't know. Great move.
Yeah, I agree. That's probably the most in terms of longevity and everything. That's probably the best move out of those. Yeah. So what do you think about the Liners and Tacos trade?
I kind of gave my thoughts in a question that we're probably going to talk about earlier.
Okay.
I think the Liners are done.
Okay.
So that is my opinion. I can dive more into it later, but I think the Liners are done. And the Tacos, it was Caleb doing Tyler a favor, but Caleb also had to dump salary, so.
Yep.
I don't know.
He's now under salary. Like he has Luke Ballish.
So.
And now Mike Corridos, but we'll see what happens if he's able to make more moves now. But yeah. So we'll get into that a little bit later. So the big topic, Caleb wanted to talk about this, but this is a good topic for all of us here. So the league is, I feel like, and Caleb the same way, like I feel like this league is deeper than ever. And it went back to my point of like Caleb and I agreed that like if you think about it, like the Maniacs being a 1-5 team, or the Melonheads being a 1-5 team is like crazy. And, you know, it kind of shows you that, I mean, anyone can win right now in this league. I mean, the only one struggling is obviously the Tacos, but they have reinforcements coming. That trade helps them a lot. It provides some more stability in terms of players that have played there for a long time. So, you know, and plus they still got plenty of salary cap to move stuff around. So, thoughts on that statement? The league is deeper than ever.
Honestly, yeah, I could agree with you. It's really hard to like with this whole guessing games and stuff. It's you would think it would be really straightforward right now, but it's obviously from last week, anyone can win right now. The teams are just honestly, it's pretty even. Like I don't know, sliders. Something like the Sliders, and obviously you said the Melonheads. All of these teams have the talent to win against these other big teams, you know. like big names and stuff.
Yeah.
Honestly, like you said, anything could go right now.
Ryan?
Yes, I do agree that right now, this is probably the most even that the whole league has been across the board, talent-wise. I do think once we get closer to the end of the season and rosters start to finalize, you're going to see the same managers and the same leadership towards the top of the standings, because we have a lot of new owners, and yeah, they have the talent right now, but penalties are going to come into play, like solidifying your 1 through 4. I still think some of that experience that a lot of these managers like Eric or Caleb, if he can figure it out, or even you, like, I think the veterans will still rise to the top. But I think, yeah, talent-wise, top to bottom, everyone's getting better. Everyone's learning how to pitch and hit and adjust. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a deep league. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we'll get to our side topic a little bit later. So, since we're on Skype, we're doing this online. We don't really have a break time here, so we're just gonna keep going through. Any other things before we move on from transactions last week? Anything like that? No.
No,
All right.
I'm good. I got it.
Cool. So, we'll take a ad break to say this episode is sponsored by Sam Suds. Pay the man, or else we won't have any drinks. So, all right, going on to week 4. So we have our assignments here of what we're going to do for previewing. I'm going to start off with the Liners and Melonheads matchup. And, of course, I say this and... Aha, here we go. So, we have the Liners are starting Carter Vandergren, CVG, number 1, Caleb, number 2, Mark Richards, number 3, and Mike Heritos, number 4, versus Garrett, Jeff Borkowski, John Lytle, and Chandler Kimmel. I'm just going to give my thoughts first. I think I'm going to say split here. CVG playing 2 innings in the first game. Not sure how that's going to go for him. Well, I guess he does have a 0 ERA. I think he's only pitched 2 innings, so he's only played 1 week. So, I think hopefully he's trying to kind of take out the matchup of Garrett versus him in that first game. I think that's why Caleb put himself number 2, hopefully, and then trying to hopefully get a couple more people on in front of him so he can hit some more home runs with some runners on. So I have a split here. So, Ian, how about you give us your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the split too. I think Caleb's definitely got the carrying capacity. Like he could put a team together and have a solid chance of winning the series and definitely sweeping. But I feel like it's just the Melonheads' talent that they have on the roster. They could easily pull out with 1 game at least. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if it went a Melonhead sweep. In all honesty, but
yeah,
I'll go with the split.
Yeah, Vogus, thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of want to say Melonheads. I'm going to say Melonheads sweep. Screw it.
Go for it.
Here's the thing. Caleb, and I'm sure if you are on Twitter in the wiffle world at all, you kind of have an idea that Caleb was in a wiffle ball game the other night. He made his debut in Circle City on Monday night against Mike Speak Jr., their ace, and it went 12 innings.
12.
And they had a combined 52 strikeouts between the two of them. Caleb threw at least 130 pitches. So I don't know how he's feeling. I mean,
he said he's feeling okay. He said because he called me almost immediately this morning, talking about the show, and he said, "Yeah, arms." I was like, You know what, bro? It hurt me to watch GBL wise, watching my ace go out there and throw about a bajillion pitches. I was like, and striking out 27 guys over
Yeah,
12 innings. That was
I mean
same.
he went there with a purpose. It was to, I mean,
Yeah.
that's a that matchup got national attention, and I mean both of them showed out. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, Caleb's playing in 4 leagues this week.
Yep.
Monday Circle City, Wednesday Leroy, Saturday/Sunday GBL, and then Sunday also with Orville. So Caleb's spreading
the
himself.
full sweep.
He's spreading himself very thin. So I'm curious where his energy is going to be leaning towards.
Yeah.
And then also the lineup that he has isn't good. So I like Garrett as a pitcher. Jeff Borkowski's always been kind of solid. He's a little down this year, but I don't know. That's just my thought is Caleb might be spreading himself out a little bit too thin this week. And I think if anyone's going to take advantage, this is the week to do it.
For sure. All right, Ryan, you want to preview the next one?
Sure. Let's see who I got.
Sluggers Riot.
Sluggers Riot. Okay.
I
got it.
Liners are on Harambe.
Okay. Sluggers Riot are on Minute Maid. I hate that field so much. So the Riot are throwing out Matt Kuna, Marty Rosala, Tim Wilcher, and Joel Binky.
Joel Berkey.
Okay.
Binky Barnes?
Yeah.
Is that Binky Barnes?
And then the Sluggers got Eric Detmar, Alec Gerlach, Colin Lautenbach, and Cole Deardoff. I mean, I'm just going to go Sluggers sweep here. I know Kuna's coming back. Kuna's 4-0 on the year, which is wild.
Yeah.
I mean, he's playing very well, but this lineup for the Sluggers, I don't know who Cole Deardoff is. I think he's been traded 6 times.
My guy. That's my guy.
Yeah, he's. But I don't know. I know what this Sluggers team brings to the table. Tim's going to come down to earth at some point, in my eyes. Dude just turned 30. Shout out to Frankie Collins, but yeah, I don't know. I got a Slugger sweep here.
Okay, Ian.
I actually got a split here. Honestly, this is going to be a slugfest in general, depending on how the wind is. But I don't know. You got 3 powerhouses with hitting on the Riot, and then you got Joel, and then the Sluggers are definitely a small ball team and likes to just put it on the ground and, run it out. But
sir,
they could definitely have some.
Did you just call Tim Wilcher a powerhouse hitting?
I did.
Come on.
I did.
That's a take. That's a take.
How much did he pay you to say that?
I mean, if you
Good
look at his
Lord.
numbers, he's got respectable numbers.
Yeah, it's also depending on how the wind is too. Yeah,
That field, it seems like has been
Stop it.
blowing in a little bit, so we'll see how that goes. Any other? Sorry, we kind of cut you off there.
Oh no, you're good.
Okay,
I'm
all
good.
right, cool. My thoughts. Man, this is actually tough, and it's not just because Tim keeps giving me shit keeps saying that his team's like bad and picking sweeps and stuff. I told Marty it's not him. I don't have anything. It's just Tim. I love giving Tim crap. I'm gonna, and yeah, this is also a thing. Greg always says split. I'm gonna say split. So, and that's different from you guys. So we'll see about that. I mean, you got a lot of good there in the top of the lineup. We'll see how Cole holds up pitching wise. He's got a 4 ERA, so not bad in 7 innings, 7 Ks, only giving up 1 hit an inning. So we'll see how he does versus Joel Berkey in that 4 matchup. That's probably your key matchup there. Kuna, Detmar, you're really not going to see anything in those innings. Marty and Alec, there's a chance for maybe 1 or 2 runs, not like a whole lot there. And then, it really comes down to the Tim versus Colin matchup. Can Tim kind of keep up? He's got a 10 ERA right now, but he's about league average. 8 Ks over 9 innings. So we'll see what Kuna can do for him. I think he'll help him win a game. So I don't think they go in a 4-game skid. So that's my thoughts on that one. So, Ian, you got the next one, the Badgers Tacos. Preview that one for us.
Yep, so we got the Badgers versus the Tacos over on Fenway Park, a 132 salary team versus a 55 salary team. Yep, that's all I got to say. I got Badger sweep.
Okay. Who's on the teams here for us?
We got Jared, obviously. We got Mike Kubacki coming back. Sam Kruchek with his debut, and Bo Hofstra for the Badgers. And for the Walking Tacos, we got Sam Stahl's debut for the Tacos. Jason Hilleguns, T-Walk, and we got Jordan.
Jordan Tolk.
Tolk.
Yeah. So, I'll give my thoughts here. No, Ryan Vogus ends a streak of almost 2 years.
More than 2 years, Greg.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you came week 2 of 2018, right? Was your first week, I think. And then haven't missed a week since. So, yeah. Ryan's also making his Circle City debut tomorrow. Go Yak, right? Who's the Yakkers? Is your team, Rye?
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute.
I know, that's fine. Yeah, Ryan.
Yeah. Shout out to the Yakkers. Hopefully I'll be making my debut tomorrow night. Weather pending. It doesn't look fantastic, but I made a commitment to them to come out and play a few times this year. This week kind of worked out, I guess. I mean, it's a lot of driving for me, but we're playing the Tacos, so I don't feel my services are needed. It gives a good chance for some other guys to get into our lineup and get a chance out there. Let Kubacki get back out there. He'll probably hurt himself because he's coming back too early. I'm really excited for Sammy Kruchek to finally make his debut. He was on my team.
Exciting.
He was on the Crocs last year on our Kermit roster last year, but we didn't. It didn't pan out. But we took him this year. I knew having Mikey on the team, we'd have a pretty good shot at getting Sammy to come out and play. Sammy's a GBL. He's a GBL legend.
GBL legend, yeah.
He won the MVP in GBL the World Series MVP in GBL last year, champion. Monster bat. The man can rake. We'll see how his pitching holds up. He doesn't throw that ball very often at all. But I think if you're gonna test it out, tomorrow's the day because the dudes on the other team can't hit.
That's man. Yeah, the batting just looks real terrible there.
I mean,
they've driven in a combined 5 runs. Those 4 players on the Tacos have been driven in a total of. And none of them have hit a home run this year. Yeah,
not good. Ooh. Is Tolk the one that I don't? This might be rude.
He's not. No, he's the leader on their team.
Okay, there was a player on the Tacos that I was told might be the worst wiffle ball player in the history of the sport.
No, that was Mike Carritos, currently on the liners.
Nice. Okay, fair enough. So, all right, I knew it was one of them. Okay, well, good for Tolk. Hopefully that. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's gonna be bad.
A sweep for the Badgers is what I'm feeling here.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I'm just really hoping it's a confidence booster for my fellow teammates. I hope Jared can get his confidence back up. I know he was down last week after what had happened. So I feel like this will be a good turnaround week for us.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, I don't have much else to say here. Sammy, legend in GBL. So, see how he does. Probably going to get a lot of slow pitch. I hope Sam does well in that one spot. Sometimes he's I think he has a mental hurdle over seeing himself as that high of a player. His pitching warrants him to be a one, especially on this team. So, and we'll see how Jason Hilligans does too on a new team. So, hopefully they'll make it respectable. But yeah, I'm saying sweep for the Badgers as well. Mike had a great debut a couple weeks ago. Bo, I'm sure, will be fine. So, yeah, the really only question mark I see on the Badgers is Sammy, and that's not that big of a deal for me. So, all right, so we're going to move on to the next matchup. I'm going to start off previewing this. This is the Porkers and Barnstormers, the Master versus the Padawan. So, the Porkers got Shane Anderson, the owner, Ian, Matt Schwitzer, and then Al Friedman. The Barnstormers are rolling out Gags, Tuck, Hayworth, and Ty Bothwell. So, this is a tough matchup. This is at Wrigley. Historically, a wind-blowing outfield. So, I kind of see this as a slugfest. Again, I know you were just in one last week, Ian, but I think you're probably going to be in another one here. We'll see what, Hayworth's batting wasn't great last week. Let's see if he gets that. I'm going to say that Barnstormer sweep. I know that might be a little bit controversial, but that's
honestly,
probably
yeah,
Greg, it's not controversial because I agree. I don't think it's going to be close. That is my take. I think the Barnstormers blow them out.
Oh, wow. Owner, Ian, you've been disrespected here by both people. Your thoughts?
No, honestly, those are solid takes. After last week, it's we're on the downhill right now, obviously. So Barnstormers are trying to strike us while we're down. So honestly, it's not. It is kind of because I'm on the team, but I could see us pulling away with at least one. Because I feel like Al right now, especially, he's found what he's been missing in that bat. And he's going to keep that going. Shane right now, he missed last week, but week 2 he kind of did not have the greatest day at the plate, but his pitching has still been on point.
Yeah.
He still has a 0 ERA right now, and if he can keep that going and not allow any hits or any runs, that'll definitely pick up some slack. But yeah, I could see us pulling away with one at least.
Okay. So you're predicting a split for yourself?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, you get some good points there. Yeah, hopefully, the pitching holds up for you this time. Like I said, though, we'll see how the wind works because, like I said, Wrigley's usually a blowing out kind of field. So, Ryan, you want to handle my matchup here?
You got it, Greg. We got the Narwhals and the Maniacs at PNC.
Worst field ever.
Yeah, that is. Well, the corn shed.
I mean, at least the field's flat.
Yeah, but it's not playable if there's a drop of rain outside. So
correct.
Anyways, so Narwhals are throwing out there Kyle Schaff, Cam Varlan at 2, Dave Buzik 3, and Greg Geerling in the 4. Maniacs got Kevin, Tony Lucido, Tyler Van Kyken, and Elijah Richardson in the 4. Picked up Elijah this week. Greg, I got a Narwhal sweep here. Maniacs, they are coming off of a big week against the Badgers last week. I kind of think they come back down to earth a little bit. They got Elijah filling in for him. I know he's been he's 26 this year so far, so he's solid. But I don't know, man. I just think top to bottom, the Cam and Dave, that's a switch, right? 2 and 3.
We did that last week, so
okay.
Yeah,
that worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, Cam's a solid pitcher. I think having two batters in front of Dave, especially if they can get on, is a great strategy for you guys. Yeah, I mean they're doing well at the plate too. Shaft's got 8 home runs, Dave's got 9, both with 21 RBIs. So, and then 1 through 3. I mean that's the best 1, 2, 3 in the league. So yeah, I don't know. I just think you guys finally assert your dominance for a week, get off the split stride, and take a sweep.
Ian, go ahead.
I actually got a split here. I think Maniacs are going to ride that wave of last week and kind of bring it to you guys at first. I feel like they could pull off the first game, but I don't know. They'll start to slow down a bit, and yeah, I don't know. I got a split though. I definitely have a split. Okay. I feel like they could ride a wave a bit.
Yeah. I'm gonna say I'm gonna agree with you, Ryan. I think we get a sweep this week. I'm feeling good with my team. You know, like I said, now I can start to have these takes more confidently that, you know, I can be able to win teams. You know, the first time I've had really a good team in the 3 years I've played. I need to do better. My average is below 300 right now, which is not great. I need to just be able to get on a little bit more. I think for Kyle and Dave, when we do that, we're very good hitting wise.
You need to be confident with your swings, Greg.
Absolutely, I know. You're exactly
Greg,
right.
Greg, I've been watching you hitting BP, and you were sending absolute nukes out into left field.
Yeah,
you have the power to just.
I mean, he's been putting the ball in play this year too. It's just from when I've been watching, and I know he's seen me watch. It's just committing to some at bats. He kind of check swings when he should just automatically commit, and then you get yourself in a hole. I think once you start seeing the ball more this year, I think you'll get a little more confident. So
I think that's been, because Caleb and I, and like I've done batting practice with you and Jared and stuff throughout, the off season. It's just taken me a little bit more to adjust, and I think I'm putting too much pressure on myself in at bats to be like, man, I need to hit this really hard or something like that. So I'm going to try and focus down on that. But if you look at kind of the pitching and the batting are almost like kind of opposite for our teams. We have a 140 rating for our batting, and they have a 144 for their pitching. Seeing Tony again, we caught Tony on a bad week the first week with like kind of the wind blowing out. So we'll see how that ends up for us. Kyle's got an inflated ERA. He had one bad inning there, against the Melonheads that was like pitch black. You couldn't see anything. Literally missed a ball that was right next to me. So that wasn't helpful, but he's a stud. Cam is a very good pitcher too, so hopefully the Cam Verlon revenge game.
Chef's tied with me for second in the league on strikeouts with 20. So and both of both,
that's insane.
And mine's like almost 10. So we've both been hit by the bug of having a bad inning or two, but he's untouched. I mean, he told me he gave up his first fast pitch hit last week. Yeah. And I know the feeling with him. Like when we get on a roll, it's kind of like shocking when it happens. But I don't know. Shaft's a beast. And you got. I mean, you're not having a bad year either.
No, I'm doing what I need to. I think the most I've given up in an inning is 3. So if I can do that and we can hit the way we've hit, and the other guys can hold up runs, then we'll be good. So. So sweeps, and then Ian, why don't you preview the last matchup of the night for us?
Sure, we got the backdoor sliders. This is on Cornshed with Robbie Zanstra, Brett Detmar, John Edingberg, and Jack Hilligans. And they're against the Flamingos with Vince, Rob Warren, Grant Reinhout, and Luke Hilligans. Honestly, I got a sweep from the Flamingos. Flamingos, from playing them last year, they just got the spark that they needed right there. and I feel like they could run away with this pretty easily. It could get out of hand, but then again, if they take the momentum that they got from last week and they run with it, they could easily sweep. But it could honestly go either way. But I will go with a sweep from the Flamingos.
Ryan.
Greg, I think you and me are going to be on the same page here. I have the backdoor sliders in a bloodbath sweep. I know the young one over here doesn't have too much familiarity with these names, but those are 4 big-time Leroy
studs
in the sliders lineup. They are all studs. Brett started out slow, but like Brett's a number 1. Robbie throws missiles. John throws missiles. Jack's a beast. He's got a 50 salary right now. Yeah, I'm just gonna disagree. Vince is having a good year. He's got low ERA, a bunch of home runs. Rob's having a pretty good year too. But just the bottom half of that lineup is not good.
Yeah. I think I don't think Grant. He needs to be amazing for them to win a game. I think. I mean, he can't be throwing lob pitch to Jack and Robbie. That's gonna be tough. So, I mean, I've tried. That's the thing. I think sometimes in years past I've faced Robbie. I've tried to throw some crazy lob pitch, or even when I throw my fast stuff, air quotes. I mean, he still is just a great hitter. That's a murderer's row of a team. So, yeah, I think they'll make. I don't think it's going to be a bloodbath. I'll give them that. But, yeah, I think it's going to be tough for the Flamingos to win. I'm going to say sweep for sliders as well. So, that was a big question going into the week or the year. Like, oh, will the sliders have anyone on their team? Now they're getting all these players back because everyone's still around. So, anyway, so let's move on to the question bag. We're going to try and go through this real quick. We've been talking for over an hour. So, Ryan, you put in a few questions, so we'll kind of go over that. We already talked about Sammy's debut. Trade rumors. There's a lot of trade rumors floating around.
You want to talk about that, Greg?
No.
No?
I mean,
there's rumors that you were involved in a couple of these trades.
There's a trade offered to me tonight, and I declined.
Have you proposed any trades in the last week?
I have.
Okay. Yeah, you don't have to go into details, but I just want that on the record.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. There's a lot of big names being shopped out there. Jared has an infatuation with a player on the Tacos for some reason, and he's potentially disgruntling his number 1 overall pick with it. So I don't know. We'll see.
Boy,
see what happens with that.
Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think we're good. But I think there probably will be at least another 1 or 2 big trades that happens. I don't know before all that's said and done. But it was hot and heavy this week.
Trade rumors, nothing ever happened. So trades were pulled from the table. So before they got anywhere. So anyway, has Caleb's salary caught up to him? Is this finally going to be the year that he kind of tanks, or is just not going to live up to that $70? I think he's going to take a big dip. I think he might get into that consideration of not so much tanking, but not trying as hard. And he's not had the wind blowing out every week, so that's been tough for him to accumulate a lot of stats. So, Ian, thoughts on Caleb's salary finally catching up to him?
Yeah, I can agree with that, honestly. Especially with, I didn't know that he was playing for over 4 leagues this summer. So it's definitely going to hit hard, especially, it might not now with his first week, but his arm is definitely going to start feeling it come soon.
Yeah,
But,
for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Ryan, I'm guessing since you asked this question, you kind of agree with that statement.
Yeah, I do think this is the end of the Caleb era. Caleb's dominated Leroy forever. I mean, he still can, but he had a $70-something salary, and it's not realistic to be able to put together a competitive team consistently, at least. I mean, he can piece stuff together week by week, but like, it's going to be a miracle by the time the playoffs comes along for him to get a team under that salary that is going to be able to compete with somebody like Eric or like the Narwhals or whoever's up at the top.
Yeah.
Because I don't imagine it's going to be Caleb at the top. He can split. He can pull out splits all year, but that's going to put you right in the middle of the pack. So,
yep.
And he's at $53 right now, so, or $56 or something. So he's already playing $20 below what he was at last year. So, and there's rumblings that he feels like he has nothing left to prove in Leroy. I hear a lot of.
I don't know about that, but
I hear things from people.
Ryan, stir the pot bogus.
But yeah, no, I don't know. That's just. I feel like this year is up for grabs because Caleb's taking a step back because he has no choice with his salary. Brett Detmar is kind of feeling his way out of the league, it seems. So so that was my thought on that.
Ryan also asked, will the Jared and Rat bromance ever end? Probably not. So
I fucking hate it so much. I don't know if I've ever hated anything in my life more than Jared's love for Rat.
Rat, a big player on the Orville team this year too. We drove back and it was just me, him, and Jared. So he's trying to get a team together for a tournament. So, Gags, why do we shun him from this podcast? Highest rated show ever, apparently. It's kind of true.
It is, but I was also on that show, so who really brought the ratings here?
We'll see.
It was at my house. I think that was probably the last show I was on because Greg needed somebody to record. So
that's not true.
Came over.
Been on this podcast.
Ian, what are your thoughts? Why do you think Greg keeps shunning Gags? Is it because Leroy's not a sponsor anymore of the OTSN?
That could be it. That could be it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
This is a good question from Gags, though. Anyone outside the top 12 that could make it into the All-Star game, if there is one. Alec Gerlach is 12 and going up. Marty Vogus, Busick, Matt Schwitzer, Kevin Brogue, Lucido, Schaff, Eric Detmar, Gags, Vince, Caleb. Some notables, 13 and on, Tim, Jared, Tuck, Kuna, Borkowski, Rob Warren at 18, and Ian at 19. So that's kind of your range there. I see. So I'm going to say Jared out of that group probably can move up, or Kuna, he's at 16, could easily jump up. Tim could sneak his way in. Because it's qualify. It's qualify and salary. He put himself number 1, so he's at the top of the Iron Man because Iron Man is pretty much, who plays the most innings. So like
he's been playing bums. When he runs into the hard part of his schedule, Tim's gonna tank. Sorry.
So give me a name from like Jared, Tuck, Kuna, Borkowski, Rob, Ian.
I'll pander. I'll give it to Ian. He's got a lot more to show than what I think he's shown so far this year. And I literally haven't looked at a single stat of his, but I expect more out of you. So do better and you can be an all-star for a game that won't happen.
That's true.
So, Ian, anyone out of those people? I named? I know I rattled them off quick, but
Yeah, list them off again.
Tim, Jared, Tuck, Kuna, Borkowski, Rob Warren, yourself.
Man, I don't even know, honestly. Yeah, Tim. I don't know if he keeps his performance how it's been going against these teams. He's not played the greatest teams in the world as of recently, but if he keeps his hitting going against these bigger teams, he could definitely shut up all the haters. That's for sure. But he could. I don't know. I feel like Tim's got it. The hitting wise, like I said before, he can hit, and he thinks he can, and he can. So it's a good good combination.
All right, so I said Jared or Kuna. You say Tim. I said, and then Vogus says Ian. So, all right. Tuck says waiver winners from week 3. We already kind of talked about it. We kind of agree that Barnstormer is probably the biggest pickup there. Lots of other good moves though. Would you agree with that? The winner of week 3 waiver?
Yeah.
Ryan? Well, it looks like we lost Ryan there for the last few minutes. So, oh, there we go.
I'm back, sorry.
That's all right.
Tuck one.
Cool. And then, Tim, we're going to gloss over a few of these questions because we are at an hour 15.
I need them. Just fast fire them. Come on.
Matt Kuna or Matt Schwitzer, longer term success in Leroy?
Kuna.
Ian?
I don't know, as much as I hate to say it. Kuna, if he keeps playing, if he's able to keep playing, then probably Kuna. But Schwitzer's, he still has some stuff to prove. He played against smaller teams with wind blowing out that amplified his hitting ability. Yeah. But he could definitely, he's got to get, back in control and do what he can do.
Okay. Yeah. I say Kuna as well. Just because I know Kuna, I trust, but Schwitzer's been doing real great, so I'm not bashing him at all. So I'm just saying slight edge to Kuna, just because, like I said. Huh?
I said you're terrified of this man. Yeah. Stop being so afraid of him.
Let's see. Okay. What other things could I penalize people for? Nothing. Robin Jack are 3rd and 4th in career home runs. Brett is a Hall of Famer. Why are the sliders taken as a joke by Going Corn management? They didn't have all those players a couple weeks ago, so that's why. Will Tim win Ironman this year? I think we talked about that. I mean, maybe, but if you put yourself down in the lineup, probably not.
No, he will not. No, he will not.
Is Sam happier to be a taco than a liner after ownership disputes?
No.
No, he goes to an 0-6 team. Matt Dykstra has 249 career strikeouts, 5th all time. Is it finally retirement, or will we see one more strikeout from him? Yeah, I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he'll come back for one more week. Yeah. Are the Bush League Badgers the most overrated roster of the league? No.
Who is?
The most overrated roster?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, then I guess the Badgers are it.
Okay. All right, moving along. Should Going Corn involve more rumors, stats, and drama instead of Greg just saying each series will be a split? Have never done that. I picked a lot of sweeps last week also, so
I brought a lot of
suck it.
That shit tonight, so you're welcome.
Yes, you did. So there you go. Caleb has a career. What the hell is this stupid thing? Has a career 1.6 homer to K ratio from the plate. This year it's 0.75. He is 9th behind guys like Marty, Matt Schwitzer, and Dave Busick. Is this 6-year reign of batting champion finally coming to the end? And if you say it's because of the wind, you are a liar and a coward. I don't know. No, Caleb, I'll say no. I trust Caleb to still win a batting title. Eric Detmar reportedly offered cold hard cash to Jordan for Brett. Is this legal and should punishment be made? Yes. Fine him $50. Sure.
Tim lets Eric do whatever he wants.
Final question.
Greg
And we're
offered Jared a T-Bills gift card for me in a trade. Just want to throw that out there.
For the first pick in the draft. I'm happy with where I landed though. All right. Final question of the night and from Tim on all of his ridiculous questions. Do the Narwhals have pregame Zoom calls where they watch each other jack iron and jack off to getting jacked? No. No is the answer.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, I guess.
When's Dave's next conspiracy post on Instagram? Any leaks or rumors?
Thanks to Ryan and Ian for joining me this week, and Ryan especially, very last minute joined. So thank you very much for joining and bringing some takes. You had some good questions tonight. And I enjoyed our talk.
Build the narwhal.
So yeah, thanks for joining us, and for Ryan and Ian, my name's Greg, and this has been Going
Colgate is poison.